Long before his name became feared across Jamaica and beyond, he was just another young man from Tivoli Gardens, West Kingston. His real name was Lester Lloyd Coke, but history would remember him by a different name, Jim Brown. In the narrow lanes of Tivoli Gardens, power was not given, it was a taken. And Jim Brown learned early that survival depended on loyalty, fear, and control. During the 1970s, Tivoli Gardens was more than a housing scheme. It was a political fortress. The area was deeply aligned with the Jamaica Labour Party, and violence was often used to protect political ground. Guns, not ballots, decided who ruled the streets. At the center of that world was Claude Mossop, the top enforcer in West Kingston. He was feared, respected, and untouchable. Jim Brown operated in his shadow, learning how power worked, how communities were controlled, how enemies were silenced, and how loyalty was enforced. When Claude Mossop was killed in 1979, a vacuum opened. Jim Brown stepped into it. Quietly at first, he began consolidating control in Tivoli Gardens. He recruited young men, he armed them, he organized them. This group would later become known as the Shower Posse, a name that symbolized how bullets would shower their enemies. What started as local enforcement soon grew into something much bigger. By the early 1980s, Jim Brown was no longer just a Kingston Don. His organization had expanded into an international criminal network. Drugs flowed out of Jamaica. Guns flowed back in. Cocaine moved through New York, Miami, and other U.S. cities. Money poured in. With wealth came influence. Jim Brown used cash to buy loyalty in Tivoli Gardens. He paid school fees, helped families, funded community events. To some residents, he became a protector. To others, he was a ruler who could not be challenged. Police intelligence linked the Shower Posse to dozens of murders, both in Jamaica and the United States. Witnesses disappeared. Rivals were executed. Entire neighborhoods learned to stay silent. By this point, Jim Brown had built something powerful and dangerous. His influence reached beyond the streets. Investigators believed his organization was protected by political connections. Tivoli Gardens was treated as a no-go zone. Police operations were rare and risky. Entering the community often meant confrontation. For years, Jim Brown lived openly, confident that his power would shield him. But international attention was growing. U.S. authorities began connecting dots between drug murders overseas and Kingston-based leadership. Files were built, charges were prepared. Pressure mounted quietly. Jim Brown was no longer just a Jamaican problem. He was now an international target. As the 1990s approached, his movements became more limited. Surveillance increased. Law enforcement cooperation between Jamaica and the United States intensified. Extradition became a real threat. Still, Jim Brown believed he was untouchable. He had survived political wars. He had outlived rivals. He had built an empire from concrete lanes and fear. But power, once exposed, begins to collapse. And Jim Brown was about to face the one force he could not intimidate by silence. By the late 1980s, the world around Jim Brown was changing. The streets of Tivoli Gardens were still loyal, but the pressure was no longer just local. It was international. For years, U.S. law enforcement had been building cases against members of the Shower Posse. Murders in New York and Miami were being traced back to Jamaica. Witness statements, wire intelligence, and drug trafficking routes all pointed to one central figure, Jim Brown. American authorities wanted him extradited to face charges for drug trafficking, murder, and racketeering. These were not rumors anymore. These were formal requests backed by evidence. And for the first time, Jim Brown's power was being tested outside Jamaica. In Kingston, his movements became more cautious. He traveled less. He relied more on trusted men. But even then, he did not hide completely. Years of control had made him confident. He believed Tivoli Gardens was still his shield. That confidence would soon be challenged. In 1992, Jim Brown was arrested and placed in Tower Street Adult Correctional Center, one of Jamaica's most notorious prisons. Officially, he was being held while extradition matters were being addressed. Unofficially, many believed his days as a free man were over. Inside prison, his presence was felt immediately. Inmates knew who he was. Guards knew who he was dealing with. Even behind bars, his name carried weight. Outside, the streets watched closely. Supporters feared that if Jim Brown was sent to the United States, he would never return. Enemies believed justice was finally catching up. The tension was thick, and rumors spread quickly. Then on August 4th, 1992, something happened that no one expected. A fire broke out inside Tower Street Prison. Flames tore through a section of the facility. Smoke filled the air. Confusion followed. Prisoners screamed. Guards scrambled. When the fire was finally put out, several inmates were dead. Among them was Jim Brown. He died in the fire before ever setting foot in a U.S. courtroom. News of his death spread fast. Some called it an accident. Others called it suspicious. Many believed too much power, too many secrets, and too many enemies surrounded his final days. Questions were asked, but answers were few. What was certain was this: Jim Brown was gone. The man who built the Shower Posse, the man who ruled Tivoli Gardens, the man whose influence crossed oceans. His empire did not fall in a courtroom. It did not end with a verdict. It ended in smoke and fire, behind prison walls. After his death, the Shower Posse did not disappear. Leadership would later pass to his son, Christopher "Dudas" Coke, continuing a violent legacy. But Jim Brown's reign, the original architect of that power, was finished. In the end, fear could not save him, loyalty could not protect him, and power could not stop time. Jim Brown rose from the lanes of West Kingston to command an international criminal network. And in the end, like many dons before him, his story closed in darkness, leaving behind a legacy written in violence, silence, and unanswered questions.